They can revoke his privileges, but they can't take away his style. Timothy Dalton is Bond, James Bond in License to Kill. Next on HBO.
There's been an accident.
Now I need your help.
How come there's so many locks on the doors?
I've been waiting up for hours. Where were you?
I know what a difficult time you're going through. You're fired.
Men Don't Leave, starring Jessica Lange, Arliss Howard, and Joan Cusack. Premieres Sunday, March 17th on HBO.
Anthony Hopkins comes to HBO in a shocking true story of courage in the face of terror.
He was stabbed after he died.
His son is murdered.
Bastard!
He wants revenge.
I want you to challenge the death certificate.
But will the family pay the price for justice?
All you Antarctica should be very careful now.
Hopkins.
They've come to get me. You know what to do, don't you?
And Norma Alejandro star in the HBO original movie One Man's War. Premieres Saturday, April 20th on HBO.
Hi, I'm Nina Griscom for HBO Entertainment News. We're here at the 67th Street Armory in New York, where Metropolitan Home Magazine and the design industry have joined forces to help battle the AIDS crisis.
We've been very active in a number of AIDS charities, and so we decided to get together with Metropolitan Home and do something where the money would do some good.
It is everywhere around us. People in our lives are affected, and we just couldn't stand by and do nothing.
The fundraiser attracted a wide array of celebrity shoppers to peruse the 22 boutiques set up by such noted designers as Ralph Lauren, Angelo D'Anghia, Rosenthal, and Mario Buwata.
Teddy bears. I tell you, we could have sold hundreds of these teddy bears. Everybody wants Mr. Berata. And we've sold home fragrance products and sheets and lampshades, lamps, pictures, you name it.
Where else could you shop when it's not Thursday night?
I thought it was a fabulous idea. Those of us who don't like to decorate our apartments might get a few tips.
Amidst the shopping delight, all in attendance kept in mind the true importance of the event, the raising of funds to benefit the Design Industry Foundation for AIDS. What was it about this evening that brought you out?
The cause, to try and find something that will stop the virus, is particularly a greater problem now because so many children are being born with it.
That's the only reason you could point to all these people and say, do this, do that. They did it for the cause.
People care, and I think that the stigma that we saw directed towards the disease has softened, and I think people are much more realistic about what the disease is about.
And after they shopped till they dropped, the crowd went on to a gala dinner, followed by an evening of entertainment with Bobby McFerrin and Liza Minnelli.
When you're asked to do something that you know will help, you do anything you can. I've lost so many friends that I will literally do anything for AIDS that I can.
The evening, which raised over $1 million for DIFA, certainly was a big hit. But the party doesn't end here. The Metropolitan Show House, too, will be open to the public for the next 3 weeks. I'm Nina Griscom for HBO Entertainment News.
Well, I guess we can't keep it a secret any longer.
Sally Field.
What do you say we talk some trash?
Dolly Parton.
I'm having an affair with a Mercedes-Benz.
Shirley MacLaine. Daryl Hannah. Olympia Dukakis, Julia Roberts.
Pink is my signature color.
Time has made them close. Life has made them friends. They'll steal your heart. Steal Magnolias. Tomorrow on HBO.
Oh, no! Put me back in! Put me back in!
I don't want you to be upset because I'm going to find you a daddy.
Finding the perfect dad might not be so easy.
Bullseye!
Oh, the mommy and the baby.
Especially since baby Mikey wants a say in things.
Who's this Yutz?
John Travolta.
You know, that's breast milk.
Kirstie Alley, Olympia Dukakis, and Bruce Willis as the voice of baby Mikey in Look Who's Talking. Tomorrow on HBO.
On the HBO Comedy Hour, first comes love.
Before I met my husband, I'd never fallen in love. I'd stepped in it a few times.
Then marriage.
Is this the man I want my children to spend their weekends with?
Then, you know the rest.
I think kangaroos have a good deal. I like that pouch setup. I'd have a baby if it would mature in a handbag.
Rita Rudner, Born to be Mild. Tomorrow on HBO.
HBO's Monday night main event brings home your favorites.
Meet Mr. and Mrs. Rose.
I want a divorce.
You can't have one.
After 18 years of marriage, they're calmly divvying up their possessions.
It's a lot easier to spend it than it is to make it, honey bun.
You might not have made it if not for me, sweet cakes.
Or maybe they're not. Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito. The War of the Roses. Monday on HBO. Louis Gossett Jr., an HBO original on the Josephine Baker story, an HBO original movie.
What a soul and a heart the woman had. She's had a pretty difficult life, a heavy life. Being kind of in exile and being kind of put down by her people, up to a sense. Definitely put down by the whites in the United States, and being discovered and being an exotic. And she knew that this was her chance to make it, although there was an unhappiness there. She had difficulties with the men in her life. All she really wanted was to be happily married and have children, and she couldn't have that. And then she fought against the Nazis for the resistance and did that Edith Piaf kind of number. And then, of course, her life was on the line. She had to leave. And in the midst of all of that, she performed. She was of service to the people. It's a fascinating life. It's a great movie.
Louis Gossett Jr., another reason HBO original movies are simply the best.
It's a Saturday night of laughs tonight on HBO. At 8, Dan Aykroyd and Gene Hackman are a police chief's worst nightmare in Loose Cannons. And at 9:45, catch him now or hear about him later. It's the premiere of One Night Stand's Jeff Martyr. Then at 10:15, Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor are running the slickest joint in town in Harlem Nights. Simply the best in entertainment tonight on HBO.
Critics have hailed him as the next Laurence Olivier, and audiences everywhere are hailing his latest work in The Silence of the Lambs as one of the year's best. Now this celebrated stage and screen star is breaking new ground in the controversial HBO original movie One Man's War. This HBO Entertainment News feature story turns the spotlight on Anthony Hopkins, an actor who's back with a vengeance. The Welsh-born actor got his start in the theater and proved to be a natural.
I do have a good intuition and a good instinctive grasp of things, so I just rely on that now. I follow the sort of inner promptings on how to play a character.
Those instincts served him well on stage, but film proved to be a different story.
First time I ever worked on camera was with Katharine Hepburn and Peter O'Toole in Lion in Winter, and she said to me, "Do less, don't act." "Don't act," she said, "don't act, stop acting." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She said, "You've been in the theater too long."
Well, it didn't take Hopkins too long to learn, and he went on to create many memorable roles. Among them, the infamous Captain Bligh in The Bounty, and the compassionate doctor in The Elephant Man. Hopkins played a few monsters as well, like Adolf Hitler in The Bunker, for which he won an Emmy. But none were as terrifying as his highly acclaimed portrayal of the mad Dr. Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs.
Those great malignant villains are the most interesting ones to play because they say all the things that we dare not say.
Tell me, Mom, when your little girl is on the slab, where will it tickle you?
Take this thing back to Baltimore.
There's so much of our own selves that is beyond our understanding. And what an actor's task is, what I enjoy doing is finding those other areas, not to play Hannibal Lecter as a madman, but to play him, in fact, as super sane, a man who has such penetration and brilliance that, in fact, his brain is so tuned, he's ultra sane in a way, which makes him mad.
I'll help you catch him, Carrie.
You know who he is, don't you? Tell me who decapitated your patient, Doctor.
All good things to those who wait.
Anthony's the nicest man I've worked with in a long time, and the difference between that, of course, and the fury and passion of Hannibal Lecter is very interesting.
It was great. Every morning when we'd do a Lecter scene, Tony would come in and go, "Good morning, Jonathan.
You know, you're really the one that's mad.
Last year, Hopkins was on the receiving end of that madness from co-star Mickey Rourke in the psycho thriller Desperate Hours.
Gotta be careful with these things, Sheriff. You get yourself. Tony's a lot more of a physical person than he, you know, if you look at him. He does a lot of exercise and he's very strong. The guy's like a real fire hydrant.
And Hopkins turns it on full force this April in the HBO original movie One Man's War.
Shoot me! This is a country where the law rules. Find another lawyer, and we can put this matter to rest.
And one more thing, Doctor. There is a problem with Peña. He has disappeared.
Without him, you have no case.
Hopkins stars as a South American doctor obsessed with exposing the tyranny of his country, even though it could tear his family apart.
You run this family like they run this country.
Based on a true story, the film deals frankly with the realities of life under a brutally oppressive government.
Signor Baroni, in the real world, my son is crushed like an insect, and I'm expected to do nothing about it. In the real world, doctors work only for money, and peasants die because they can't afford treatment. I don't think I like this real world, Signor Baroni.
Several members of the cast and crew knew how to act under political repression from experience, but Hopkins took his cues under the gun.
I work on instinct, and I gather as quickly as I can what I'm supposed to be doing in the scene. I don't know anything about it, how it works, but I think if it works, don't fix it.
They can revoke his privileges, but they can't take away his style. Timothy Dalton is Bond, James Bond in License to Kill. Next on HBO.
Max Stern was a tough cop with some tough problems.
Every time I go over to see my son, calls me the Antichrist and hides under the bed.
He thought he'd seen it all.
Some I'm a terrible taste. Say something nice to me, will you, please?
You have very strong-looking thighs for a white man.
I like that.
But nothing could prepare him for his new partner's personality problem.
Welcome to the NASCAR driving school.
The multiple personality problem.
I'll fight you with one hand tied behind my back. Are you guys really cops? I'm a cop. I don't know what the hell he is. I'm annoying you, aren't I? Oh! Just a teensy little bit, really.
They were trailing a murderer, but wound up being hunted themselves.
They might surrender, but I wouldn't count on it. I just can't deal with the violence. Now you tell me. Did you ever stop to think that maybe you're not ideally suited for police work?
Gene Hackman and Dan Aykroyd are Loose Cannons. Tonight on HBO.
There's something wrong with that dude.
Introducing Jeff Martyr.
I stepped on a tetanus shot needle. Now what?
Jeff's got a different way of looking at the world.
Why is Wednesday called Hump Day when most people get laid on the weekends?
Jeff's coming on HBO.
Do you realize that a handicapped diplomat can park any goddamn place he wants?
Jeff Martyr, One Night Stand. Tonight. Catch him now or hear about him later.
Hello? Is this the trauma center?
Yeah!
Movies, like your best friends, come in and out of your life all too quickly. The biggest and best movies are here, and then in the blink of an eye, they're gone. Now you can see some of the best-loved films from the last few years as HBO brings the biggest and still the best movies to you this and every month.
Hey, you want to find out what's going on? I certainly do.
In March, you can catch 4 fabulous Police Academy hits.
Police Academy?
Plus a Steven Spielberg all-star comedy.
Madness. It's the only word to describe it.
You won't ever have to say,
I'm missing the movie.
Because you'll be able to catch your favorite stars in some of their best all-time movie hits.
You got all this on tape? Yes!
So remember where your friends are.
Now isn't that this song?
Oh, this is a sight. This is the bus. I don't give a damn if it's Queen Elizabeth. Here it comes!
Yesterday's biggest movie hits are still your best friends this and every month on HBO.
It's a Saturday night of laughs tonight on HBO. At 8, Dan Aykroyd and Gene Hackman are a police chief's worst nightmare in Loose Cannons. And at 9:45, catch him now or hear about him later. It's the premiere of One Night Stand, Jeff Martyr. Then at 10:15, Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor are running the slickest joint in town in Harlem Nights. Simply the best in entertainment tonight on HBO.
It's a Friday of intense suspense and laughs tonight on HBO. At 8, Kevin Costner, Anthony Quinn, and Madeline Stowe star in Revenge. And at 10, Jamie Lee Curtis stars with Ron Silver in Blue Steel. Then at 12, we're talking seriously dangerous comedy here with an all-new episode of The Kids in the Hall. Entertainment at its best. All here, all tonight on HBO.